Hello YouTube, my name is Myles Anderson. I'm a professional joke explainer, and today I'm explaining the jokes of Bryan Callen, one of the best comedians working today. Okay, so before we get started here, I've studied the comedy of Bryan Callen before, and a lot of his jokes that I'll be explaining today derive from the body comedy of Bryan Callen. So there's joke comedy, which is words-based, and body comedy is sort of a body-based physical comedy, which is very, very funny, a bit more difficult to explain, but body comedy can be found among lots of other comedians and even among some species of lizards and birds. Yeah, see? Already doing a little bit of body comedy there. Flexing the pelvis.
Austin? What's going on? Yes! The mothership. No, I don't know, man. It's
Okay, so this is at the Mothership. This is the famous Joe Rogan Comedy Club in Austin, where comedians from all over Austin gather to do jokes for the people of Austin.
It's good to be here. It's a weird world, man. I'm on my phone too much, huh? Anybody else get caught in this infinite scroll? This social media, this dopamine scroll? You know what happens? Every day I wake up and I go, I'm not going to look at my phone. I got 4 kids. I have bills. I'm not doing this. I'm not going to get caught on social media.
4 kids?
But they get you with an image. They capture you. And like, I'll just see an image.
So 4 kids is already a very funny number of kids. It just seems like a real handful. 2 kids is not very funny. 3 kids starting to get a little bit funny, but 4 kids is a very funny amount of children to have. So already a great start here.
Of like a woman in a bikini on a skateboard. No, but I have to make sure she's safe. Right? And then an hour later, you're like, I can't stop, you know? This is what happens. The problem is it gives you desires you shouldn't have, and it makes you feel like you're missing out on life, which is ridiculous. Look what I get to do. And I'm on.
Yeah, good. So a little bit of therapy there for himself off the top of the show here, saying that looking at social media makes him feel like he's missing out on things, but look what he gets to do. He gets to be a well-paid comedian at the Mothership, so he's having a good life.
On the other day, I'm scrolling, and a dude does a perfect backflip off a yacht and just disappears into the azure waters of the Mediterranean.
Azure.
And the girls on the yacht are like, woohoo, you know? And I was like, my life sucks. Right? Now, then what happens? Then I get to another reel where a dude, he's a cowboy, a real one. You guys know this. Most of you probably own horses here, and. Dude, he's a horseman. He's on a horse, a real cowboy.
That's a little joke about people in Austin, people in Texas, a lot of cowboys in Texas. So that's a little funny local joke there, a little location comedy there. A lot of people owning horses in Texas.
Hat, buckle, rope. He wrangles cattle. That's his job. Dungarees, like, right? Like, this is a man who comes home and he smells like steer, you know, like, and rawhide. His wife is probably traditional in a prairie dress. She's like, I baked you a pie, you know, right? They said, you know how much we...
Big applause break for the woman in the kitchen making a pie for her cowboy husband. So this is kind of a funny scene, funny scenario here that Bryan Callen is crafting a very absurd situation in which a man is very manly and has a wife.
Oda cowboys, you guys eat your steaks. You never think about what it takes. Do you know how unruly cows are? Do you know that cows are like, I'm free, and one of them breaks off? You need somebody to be like, hey, get the fuck up. You know, you have to...
Good little cow noise there.
A cowboy is nothing less than a man who specializes in crushing really any semblance of individual.
So look at the skill of Bryan Callen here. In this one act out, he has become a cowboy, he has become the cowboy's wife, and he has also become the cow in the situation as well. And he's talking about how cowboys work. It's interesting that he's implying here that cowboys are the reason that cows move in a group, which is a very interesting thesis.
A cow may have. Right? Remind them that they're a herd animal and stay in your fucking formation. That's not even the point I'm making. So So I see this dude on a horse. Now, I have a lot of horse fantasies, and I'm not going to go into that. I'm not. It's a stupid thing. I don't want to go into. I don't have time. But
Little horse fantasy. So he's implying he's got a little bit of a maybe sexually deviant attitude towards horses, which is a funny joke. But also, horses are a funny animal to use in comedy because horse sounds like whores, and whores are very funny.
the dude's on a horse, and he's no saddle, just bareback. Bro, that's a horseman. You want to talk about being connected to a horse? That's not a guy who can ride a horse. That's a guy who will break a horse. That's the kind of guy who can be like, and his horse shows up. Right? I mean, dude, what a man. You guys know, you know.
Look at this. Look at the power stance Bryan's got here. Big applause break for the whistle. The whistle was very impressive. I wish I could whistle like that, but I can't produce my own saliva. I gotta get it injected.
No. Here's what got me. I watched this 5 times. He's not moving a muscle. He's on the horse, okay? It's just him and the wranglers. And I don't know what he did. Bro, nothing moved on his body. Nothing. But whatever he did, that horse from a dead stone still stopped. Took off full speed. That guy sent a signal from his root chakra through his taint into the beast's back. And that signal was, go now. And dude, the horse was like, yes, master, and took off running. He wasn't even using the reins. He was just riding. Just controlling everything to control 1,200 pounds of bone and muscle.
So you can see here what's that. No, so he's simply describing a cowboy, right? And he's describing how a cowboy can ride a horse and wrangle a cow. Now, normally not very funny, but he does Bryan Callen does sort of a modern dance while he acts this out. So Bryan Callen's stand-up is more of a modern dance than even traditional jokes.
With naught but the golden crescent that is your inner thighs and taint. Dude, what an expression of masculinity. Like, if I caught that guy in bed with my wife, I would be like, apologize. Like, so I go from acrobat to cowboy, and now I follow a guy. I come across his reels. He's a sensual chef. There's no other way to put it. He's a sensual chef.
So this is a great premise for a joke here. I think I've talked about this before. Comedians don't have a lot to do during the day. It can be hard. Once comedians reach a certain level of success, they're sort of just driven to places where they do shows, and then they're taken to airports and hotels and stuff. They don't really have like a daily occupation that they do. So a lot of the times comedians will do jokes about TV shows they've watched or movies they've seen. And in this instance, you can see we're in the modern times now. Bryan Callen is going to describe a bunch of Instagram reels he saw while he was scrolling them. So it's an interesting insight into what a comedian's day is like.
He wears naught but an apron. An apron, jacked. He's got, first of all, his skin, his marble brown skin that sweats olive oil naturally. Dude, his I don't know how to describe his body. If it was a landscape, it would be unsafe to traverse in a regular car. You need special shocks. Even then, you'd be like, this is crazy, dude. You know, just got goose. His body was demoralizing. Like, I was gonna work out that day, and I was like, there's no point. Like, right? Like, why go to the gym? I'm an imposter. Nothing's gonna grow. I'm not gonna look like that. You know, if you can't afford a Ferrari, putting a fin on the back of your Honda Accord. So watch this. So now I'm already in, and the dude, he's a chef, so he just looks at me through these Mediterranean curls.
Well, round of applause for the Honda Accord. They're a very reliable automobile. So we're on to the second man. So I haven't watched this whole special, but it seems as though Bryan Callen is going to describe attractive men for the next hour here. So buckle up.
And just goes, let's make a sandwich. And I was like, okay. You know. And he pulls out a piece of raw meat. We were having a meat sandwich, obviously, and of course, this guy takes his protein very seriously. And there was no marbling. This was not a domesticated animal. This was mean. This was something wild he probably slew with his own hands. And he threw it the way he thwacked it to the counter, it was such force, it tenderized the meat. He then looks at me and goes, let's spice things up. I didn't know what he meant until he began to grab handfuls of spices from cloth sacks, just recklessly. He wasn't even measuring. Just grabbing and dashing the spices, just dashing them, covering the meat in every color powder you can imagine. Aleppo pepper and cardamom and smoked paprika. Who the fuck smokes paprika? Dude, he was chopping vegetables with a machine-like speed and precision. His forearms, I swear to God, looked pregnant. Like the kind of forearms, just the vascularity, they looked like a cluster of angry horse dicks. Like just, baba.
Cluster of angry horse dicks. That's a funny thing to say, just on its own, which is how it happened here. So he's just using a lot of very visual language to describe attractive men, and I believe this is the setup.
So then he pulls out a loaf of bread. I can't believe the guy eats bread. And I don't know what kind. It was a rustic varietal. Probably a French bouillie. And he squeezed it at the camera. He just squeezed it. It gave way under his heavy fingers with a moaning crunch. This was the most outrageous part. He takes a naked hand, and goes wrist deep into a vat of raw honey. A vat. Who has a vat? This guy. And just comes up with a wasteful amount. I mean, a wasteful. His whole hand was covered in amber gunk, and I was like, what are you gonna do with that? And he didn't answer. He just began to rub it. I know, some of it made it to the meat.
Big round of applause from the horny audience here describing Bryan Callen's visible arousal at this chef man here. So don't know where this ends, but hopefully Bryan can finally come.
Dude. And anyway, the sandwich came together. I can't remember how, it's a blur, but he took the kind of bite your mother would scold you for. Just the choking hazard alone. And the juices, Jackson Pollock.
This just occurred to me. Bryan Callen's writing reminds me a lot of websites from the 2010s. I don't know if that if that reminds you guys of that as well, but let us know in the comments below.
His chest and apron. And my wife came in and she was like, why are you making that face? And I was like, because I'm hungry and probably gay.
There it is. Okay. So the punchline is, so this makes sense now. The punchline is that Bryan Callen might be gay, which is very funny. Being gay is a very funny thing to do. But Bryan Callen is a very straight man, so it's very funny to imagine a straight guy being gay. Not really as funny to imagine a gay guy being straight, which is fascinating, but those are the rules. Big round of applause for possible homosexuality there.
Several days later, I purchased an apron. I know, I wanted to make my wife that sandwich, my younger wife. I put it on, I began to make the same sandwich in earnest. She came into the room and told me I looked like I should be washing dishes in prison. I know, my daughter screamed gross and ran from the room. So the point is, I spent too much time on my phone. You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
Nice, yes, yeah. See, just a simple, I'm on my phone all the time. And then what an epic act out of imagining being gay. Very
like
funny.
To just go from, at 57, to go from wanting to be an acrobat to a cowboy to a gay man, you know? He said, the problem is that social media has a lot of useful information. It just does. You know, especially when you want to be healthy. You got all these PhDs with gorilla necks who can deadlift 500 pounds. You know, like my doctor has abs. It's crazy, right? Just traps, and they've got all the secrets, all of it. There's so much information, though, just to try to live forever. Good luck. You got to just narrow it down, man. I'm not a health crank. Like, you got to get sunlight, get sunshine, direct sunshine, at least 20 minutes on your genitals. Like, just, right? Just don't go crazy, but if you have a pale vagina or a penis, you're not healthy. We know that. We know that, right? Are you guys cold plunging? Are you cold plunging, huh? Are you? Be honest, because I'm going to be honest. I don't want to be a jerk. I'm looking at this room. You guys look very inflamed. Everybody here looks, this room is swollen. You should look 20% smaller. You got to sit in ice water. Guys, you have to sit. It's going to suck every morning after meditation, obviously, but you sit. Get in ice water. It's going to hurt. It's going to suck, but just stay there until you're sure you cannot have children anymore. That's when you know. Make sure everything is frozen, but here's the good news. Go right into a sauna. Go right in. You want to go from the waters of the Arctic to Death Valley because that's natural. And yeah, and you sit in the sauna. Sit in there. I don't give a shit. How hot should it be? It should be so hot it makes you a better person, okay? Yeah, you should think about hell, all right? Yeah. So those are the two non-negotiables. And by the way, balance. Balance, you all know this. This is, my presentations are also full of useful information.
Okay, so the setup here, he's being quite cheeky. He says, I'm not really a health crank. And then he starts describing all of the healthy things you should do, which kind of implies he might be a bit of a health crank there. So very cheeky, very funny.
And they are finding that when you fall in your 80s and you break your hip and die, it's because you had bad balance. And the reason you had bad balance is because you have weak toes. See, you don't know this. You don't know this. It's amazing. We don't talk about toe strength. That is the most, you're working your whole body, you're doing nothing for your toes. That is so irresponsible, all right? Listen, if you're not running in heavy sand barefoot at least 3 days a week, I do not know what to tell you. I don't. And I can't stand where people are like, I don't live near a beach. I can't find heavy sand. I have children and bills. Well then, die in your 80s, you lazy piece of shit. Yeah, you want to...
So it's the same, it's the similar joke as before. You know, he is a bit of a health nut. He said he wasn't, but it turns out he is. And the visual of running in sand is a very funny thing, very difficult thing to do. Especially, you know, if you're running from a sandworm or something.
105, that's the new 50.
Very dune.
Yeah, let your friends die at 85. You want to get to 105. Don't miss those 20 years. Yeah, oh, that's a blast. From 85 to 105. Woohoo! Yeah! Can't wait to get to 100. Do you ever see what the average 100-year-old person looks like? You can't tell if they're male or female. You become involuntarily non-binary. That's what happens. 100-year-old, get that fuck. Like your face looks like a used catcher's mitt. You're walking sideways like a crab. I won. I have strong toes. I eat kale. I sit in ice water. All my friends are dead. I'm a winner.
Great act out of a nonagenarian there, or even a centenarian. Very funny. Yes, they are often feeble and want to be dead. Great observation, Bryan, and a great point as well. So he is a health nut, but he doesn't care about living that long. And also, people who do live that long are kind of gross, which is so funny, so true, and the crowd agrees with him. Very funny act out. Just the way his whole body encompasses all of the bits that he does really helps sell the fact that he is talking. Big swig.
God, such bullshit. Rather die smoking and robbing a bank.
Cheers,
That's
Bryan.
how a man goes out. Right? Salads for cowards. You know what the other thing is, though? You know what's funny? Is you can do everything right. This is the other thing you realize when you get older. You can do everything right. You can literally take your vitamins. You can wear your seatbelt, go to church, pay your taxes, give to charity, eat all the food that's good for you, and somebody can still step out of the shadows and kill you. Right? You can. That's a fact. That's the other thing social media reminds you of, that you can die at any time of anything. I've seen all the death on I didn't ask for it, but I've seen people die of every way you can imagine, every way. And I think they do that. I think the social media gods monitor our levels. I think they're like, his dopamine levels have been a little too high. Let's bring his cortisol and adrenaline levels up. Send him the video of the escaped circus elephant that stomped that poor guy to mush. And you don't even know, you don't see it coming. You're just like, oh, I love elephants. Why is it shaking its head so violently? What the fuck?
Very funny sound there. Kind of a little squeak shriek. His reaction to seeing a human death. Very funny sound and a very funny act out of the social media gods. Social media is run by, no one really knows who makes it or who does it or who's in charge. So it's just some random lizard people.
It's unbelievable. I thought a guy was running away from a bird. I'm like, look at the pussy running away from the bird. I'm like, that's a fucking drone. They were doing video. These kids were capturing themselves sucker punching people on the street. I went nuts. I looked at my wife. I go, first of all, you're too relaxed. I need your head on a swivel. When you're walking down the street, I want your hands up. I want you bobbing and weaving at all times. You know what I mean? And my wife is like...
So can you see how... You can see the formula here right now, right? He sets up a situation in which he can move sort of suddenly like a bird, which is often the punchline to the joke. Just as an example, right? He might say, oh, I was walking down the street the other day and a swarm of bees started buzzing around my head and I was trying to fight each of them like they were their own little judo. It's very good.
The kids are opening their presents, I'm like, Christmas can wait. But by the way, I still box. I still keep myself. I'm always ready. And the other day, this is what happens to me. I always say, go light. I'm rolling with this kid, 26 years old, gives me his ankle. Don't give me your ankle, bro. You can't just leave your ankle like that. I'm an ankle guy. You must have forgot, I picked that, I just got that, I scooped that up, drove him right down to the mat, had an ankle sky high, and then I had trouble looking left for 11 days. Worth it! I'm just afraid I'm going to get bested by a younger, more symmetrical male. And, and my wife is young and she's going to be like, it's just a business decision,
Nice. Young wife, Bryan Callen, doing very good for himself. Gets to do comedy for a living. Has a young, hot wife, 4 kids, bills. This guy's absolutely killing it, but he wants to remind you that he is a very pathetic man in his material. But not too much. He does often come back to remind you guys that he is fucking a nice young piece of ass at home. So
he'll raise my kids under a different
humble,
name.
but not too much.
I don't know what I'm thinking. I don't know. Like in my mind, in my fantasy, I'm going to be 85, still training. And I'll be in a cane and some guy will be like, what's up, old man? And I'll be like, oh no, you chose the wrong grandpa. But you know what the problem is? The problem is, here's the problem. I'm starting to calcify.
Okay. Did you see this pre-move? This is an expert move. He took the cup off the stool. So that stool is either going to get fucked or it's going to get something.
Bye. Okay? I am. That's what they don't say. I don't care how much yoga. I don't care what you do. Listen. You get to an age where if I have to fight for my life, if somebody attacks me on the street and I gotta go from 0 to 100 like that, I better be very warm and thoroughly stretched. I'll pull everything, bro. I have so many delicate spots. Don't worry about road rage. If I've been sitting in a car for more than 20 minutes, I can't just pop out of the car. I can't. I don't care. You could be beating my mother to a pulp, and I have to do my foot twirls. I have to.
Here he goes.
Dude, my Achilles will pop right off the bone. I do.
So what an expert move. So the audience has already laughed at the top half of Bryan's body, and by sitting on the stool, he allows them to laugh at the bottom half of his body as well. Just a master in the art form.
I'll be right there, Monet.
Look at
I'll be
that.
right there. Put your feet in his hands. Hands up.
Incredible stuff.
So true, dude. I think the responsible thing to do now, I'm getting to an age where if I really want to be safe, I have to start carrying pepper spray and a whistle. I know. Because that takes no warm up, and then, just call the authorities. I'm not going to carry a gun. I'm not. I own guns, but and all my friends in Texas, home of the brave, You know what I mean? But for me, it's just, it's too heavy. I know. It just throws my hips off. I can't even wear a bulky watch. I'm like, I feel like I'm in jail. I'm a free spirit. I know. I'm not a gun. Even if I carried a gun, I'm just not responsible. I'm not. Within 3 days, I'd be like, where is my gun? 100% that'd be me. Dude, I'm not carrying a knife. My buddy. This is great. My buddy.
Here we go. Okay, good preface. Good to preface a story with "this is great," so that the audience knows it's going to be time to laugh soon.
I look at him. He pulls his shirt up. He's just kind of adjusting his clothes. He's got a dagger, a sheath knife. I mean, horrible looking dagger. Like it's made for one thing. And he's wearing it this way so he can pull it this way, I guess. And I'm like, excuse me, sir, what is that for? And he goes, in case, bro. In case what? He's like, in case there's a situation, I gotta open somebody up. Open somebody up? He's like, this thing will unzip you right quick. I was like, unzip you? You sell real estate. Why are you talking like this? How many situations are you in where you're like, you know what? I gotta unzip. You said 3 bedrooms. Fuck this, dude. Like, what if he has a knife? What if the other guy has a knife? Now you have a knife. Now you're in one of these things? Do you know how to win that? I don't. You really want to be safe? You really want to be safe? You got to make money. Yeah, I'm talking real money.
I mean, true point. Great knife act out there. Great knife fight act out from Bryan, illustrating what it would be like if a realtor had a knife. Also, very funny observation. So he says it's a great story. Right, this is great, he says, and then so he says he has a friend who has a big knife. Turns out his friend's a realtor, and realtors never have to stab. They're often safely in a BMW. So what a very funny observation, and a great opportunity for an act out. He does a fencing act out. Is there any kind of movement Bryan Callen can't do? That's my question.
You know what I mean? I'm not talking Austin money. I'm talking Dallas money. Yeah, there's a difference, bro. Oh man, I'm talking billions. My buddy's a billionaire. That's, ready for this? That's 1,000 million. I fantasize about having that much money, and not because I have any.
Amen, brother. We all fantasize about having $1,000 million. Absolutely. And that's another little insight into the comedian mindset. The comedians often fantasize about having billions of dollars so that they can do even more comedy as well.
Parodies in mind. I know. I think I just want it because I'm just at heart. I'm just a lazy bitch. I'd love to just stop. I'd love to be like, no to everything. That's why I'm not going to be a billionaire. My buddy, always busy, always. I'm like, how you doing? He goes, crazy week, dude. Crazy week? Why? He goes, just work. Work? Work? You have $1,000 million. I don't even think I would flush. and be like, I pooed, somebody get it. Right? Oh my God.
Big applause break for that very funny act out and observation. If Bryan Callen had $1 billion, he wouldn't even flush. He would let somebody else get the poo, which is a very funny, eccentric billionaire thing to imagine. Very funny stuff, Bryan. And the crowd loves it. Big applause break, big woos from the ladies. Just all around a very good bit. Also really cool that Bryan knows a billionaire. Cool. It's great to have rich friends like that, because they can help you with marketing.
My God. Every time you hear a billionaire, they're so ambitious. I'm going to colonize Jupiter, and I'm going to bring irrigation to the Sahara. I will green the desert. I'd be like, I'm going to be cuddling my pony and eating my bonbons.
See, and this is a callback to imagining being gay. So he opens with imagine if I was gay, and this is a callback to Bryan imagining that he's gay. So it's double funny because the crowd is remembering the first part there.
It's a house pony. I'd be such a dick. I would probably have a staff. I'd have them standing at attention every morning, as is the rule. Good morning, everyone. I want something no one else has. I'm bored today. I want a chocolate waterfall and a square basketball. God, and you could be so safe. You wouldn't have to worry about jujitsu. Please. Carry a gun? How gauche. Stop it. I would just outsource my protection. I would hire violent professionals. Powerful men with aggressive beards. Warriors. Warriors who've inoculated themselves to the stresses of combat. Sheepdogs in suits. God, you could go anywhere, you'd always be protected. If you did see someone coming for you, if you did see the wolves coming over the hill, you could just be like, get them. I don't know why I get so gay when I think about being that rich.
Just like I said. So I thought it was unsaid, but he says the joke here. Very good. Imagine if he was gay. It's absurd.
You know what I mean? I think that's what happens when you make that much money, because you can walk into a room and be like, I want to fuck everyone, you know? And they'll do it, because if you have that much money, you know, everybody's going to be like, you just start throwing money. Some people are like, no, it's against my principles. Really? Do you have a mortgage? I'll pay it. If you got a 30-year mortgage, I mean, I'd be like, fine, let's go, bro. You know? That's worth it.
And he bends over to assume the anal sex position. Very funny. Again, one of the funnier parts about gay is the butthole sex, which is one of the funniest forms of sex, other than 69, of course.
Right? But money, man, money makes you do weird things. Listen, I'll tell you a story. I met a super rich, like super villain. This was crazy.
More rich. Rich guy.
Like from the movies. This was nuts. I go to a party in LA at this house. This house, it's the kind of house you walk into and you're like, money does buy happiness. You know, and it was billionaires and movie stars and the people that have sex with billionaires and movie stars. So like, gorgeous power. It was just like, you're just like, what is going on? And I'm a pretty confident guy.
So, a great setup for the joke, but also kind of another cool insight. Bryan Callen is out there partying with the richest, hottest people on the planet. So, pretty cool guy.
5 minutes at that party, I've never felt more invisible in my life. Just nobody. I was a spore, literally. I was just like, shall I clean the toilets? You know? And so I'm gonna get out of there. I was gonna leave, and one of the security guys recognized me, and he was blocking certain entrances to the house so you couldn't go in. And this guy collected modern art. So he goes, go ahead, take a look. Walk around, I trust you. So I was like, damn. So I'm in the bowels of this mansion. There's like just rooms and different like art things. And then I come to a room, and there's this, and there's this giant canvas. It's a white canvas, and it looked like the artist took his long hair and dipped it in black paint and then did this once, like, right? Just this bullshit I'm looking at, right? And I can hear the din of the party, and I already feel a little bad about myself, right? And I'm looking at this thing, and this duke, this count, this striking Dracula, this like, and I didn't see him at first. I just heard him. I'm just looking at this painting, and I hear behind me, I hear this voice, and it just goes, do you hunt? Oh, hi. Do I hunt? I have hunted before, yeah. I knew it. You move like a hunter. I'll be honest, when I first saw you, I thought someone had thrown clothing on a jaguar.
Great accent.
And what do they call you then? Bryan? No. I'm afraid that won't do. Do you mind if I call you Tarzan? I don't care. You want to.
So this is kind of just a scene, right? Sometimes comedians do jokes. Sometimes comedians reenact scenes. So this is, I think, a scene joke.
And that was the first time I met P. Diddy.
Oh!
So nice.
And there's the punchline.
Nice.
It was a P. Diddy party. P. Diddy is the famous sex party guy that everybody went to his parties and had sex. So that's a great pull. If you know who P. Diddy is, that's a very funny joke. If you don't,
gotcha.
The voice was very good.
Yep, that's what money does to you if you're not careful. You chase a sensation, you got to keep upping the ante. I can give you $1,000 million, and you'd have a different set of problems. And I guarantee if you spent it on nothing but safety and comfort and sensation, within about a year, you'd go so nuts, you'd be so numb that you would start importing danger and discomfort right back into your garden just to feel alive. That's what happens. Yeah, don't, you cannot surround yourself with all that safety and comfort. You need struggle. You need it. You need uncertainty. You can't just have, that's why I think
Here it is, good point, yes. You should struggle.
Read the Garden of Eden. I think we read it the wrong way. I don't think it was paradise. I don't. I think it was a form of hell. I really do. Because think about it. You want to be in a garden where nothing can kill you? Where nothing can hurt you? That's another way of saying nothing happens. No adventure. You need to not know what's going on. If for anything to be fun, you gotta have a time limit, first of all. You gotta have a time, even if you were coming all the time, like, right? You'd be like, when does it end? It'd become agony. There's gotta be an end point, and you gotta have at least a possibility you might die. You have to have that. You have to have danger.
This is a very funny premise for Bryan, but I personally disagree. If this comedy special could last forever and ever, I think I'd be in heaven.
The only reason it's fun to ride a motorcycle a little too fast is you might fall off and lose all the skin on one side of your body. Right? You have to have that. That's why it's more fun to pet a tiger instead of a cow. A cow's like, boring. But
the cow noise, call back to the cow noise from the beginning. Very good, very funny.
A tiger's like, he almost killed me, Yeah, man. I don't think Eve bit that apple because I think she was just bored. I do. I think, we call it a sin. I think she'd call it an escape. I think all of us eventually would have bit that apple. You want to wake up in a garden, an eternal garden where nothing can hurt you, nothing can kill you, next to a naked virgin? He seemed fine. He was like, what do you want to do? Climb another tree? Cuddle a vegan tiger? Take a nap? She was like, get me the fuck out of here. Right? That's what happens, man. That's what people do in real life. You make enough money, man. You make enough money and you spend it on the wrong shit. I promise you, you will wake up one day and say something insane like, I want to see the Titanic. Yeah. Yeah. But
oh, that's a joke about the Titanic guys that went in that submersible and got smushered at the bottom of the inky black depths. If I were to say it in a Bryan Callen way, very funny visual. It is very funny to imagine those guys dying like in a cartoon.
That shouldn't be surprising to us as human beings. That shouldn't be, because, you know, you can get to a point where the only way you feel alive and connected is to get into a tiny submarine, to cram into a tiny submarine and go 2.5 miles under the surface of the ocean to the coldest, darkest, wettest place on the planet to see that much of a boat. Shine the light over here. Look, the hull. Woo! But that makes you feel more alive than being on a yacht in Tahiti for the 25th time. I don't want to do like fucking sunshine, jet ski, dancing. I want to go down. Isn't that weird? Elon Musk, he's worth $400 billion. You know what he thinks about all day, as far as I can tell? Mars. Bezos is the same thing. That's literally like you can make enough money where you wake up and you're like bored of Earth. That's what he wakes up and he's like, I've done it.
Great way of acting out those guys' space ambitions. Spinning around kind of, so he gives them a funny affectation, almost like they're a spoiled teenager, right? Which is very funny because those guys are very rich, very powerful guys. So to portray them as a spoiled teenager is gut-bustingly hilarious. Big applause break there.
Every day he walks into SpaceX and he's like, how much longer?
Takes a sip.
So, I'm not gonna make $1 billion, that's off my vision board. Yeah. Oh, that apple came out of the garden.
Okay, he's sitting on the stool. I don't know how long he's gonna be on the stool. If he tells a whole joke on a stool, that's a brave new world for Bryan Callen, because a lot of his bits hinge on him moving around.
I always think that's significant. That apple and that snake, I always think about the symbolic significance. The apple's always there, no matter how old you get. There's always that temptation. There's always what you want to do versus what you should do. Bam. And you just, your whole life is you got to resist. And it's just like, you just want to take a couple nibbles, right? It's like, no, maybe smell your breath, something, but you can't do it. You can't, man. It's just, it never works out. This is a good cheat sheet. Okay, I'm older, so. Because a lot of times when you're younger, you eat a lot of apples, and you have to eat a lot of apples to realize apples are not good, right? I used to look for the whole orchard, and I'd be like, but here's a good way to look at it. Okay, if something feels really good.
Okay, apples are a metaphor for something here, but not quite sure yet, because apples are an enjoyable and healthy fruit.
Right away, for no reason, get away from that. Okay. Yeah, that's an apple. If anybody on social media is telling you you can get what you want in 3 easy steps, get away from that snake, okay? He's offering you an apple. That's not how the universe works. Anybody who's like, all you got to do, if you want to be rich like me, I'm a winner at capitalism. If you want to drive a Lambo like this and fly private so you don't have to breathe the poor's air, just do these 3 things, never these 6 things, and click the link. Now, here's my self-help seminar. It's 2 lines. It'll just be very quick. This is all you got to know about life. Ready? If it's easy, it ain't real. If it tastes good, spit it out. The end. That's it. It's hard, though.
Big applause break. Bryan Callen making great points here that if it's easy, it's probably a scam, and don't do it. Again, so a lot of the joke here is hopefully coming soon.
It's hard. It's hard though, because sometimes people can be out.
That's just a little bit, that was just sort of an agreement applause. So sometimes the audience will laugh and clap just because they are in agreement with a statement, which is different than the involuntary laughter response that occurs sometimes.
Apples, and they're delicious. And you know they're bad for you. You know they are. I used to be that way. I'd find the apple in the group, and I know they're going to screw my life up. And my friends were like, dude, don't do it. That girl comes from a great family. And I was like, boring.
Okay. So in Bryan's case, the apples are women. Probably super hot women, too. And when he was young, he fucked a lot of hot girls, which is really cool. Between going to billionaire parties. So the guy has lived an incredible, awesome life, and he's very successful and very cool. It's important to remember that.
You know what I mean? I want to have sex with the apple with a bat tattooed to her neck, you know? And my friends would see it. They'd see things I wouldn't. They're like, dude, she's got track marks. And I was like, or she's a seamstress. Like, you don't know. I know. Women have it too. Women love that bad boy. A lot of women, they have to go through their bad boy phase. I don't know what it is. I have no idea. That guy Luigi Mangione, that kid, dude, he's got more fan mail. These girls are like, I want to marry you. It's like, yeah, I know. Toxic men. They're hot. They're hot. That's the problem. And I love when women say, I didn't know he was toxic. I didn't know until it was too late. I didn't know he was a narcissist. Turned out he was a hidden narcissist. Turns out he was manipulative. I was being gaslit, and I was the last to know. Bullshit. Bullshit. You knew everything about that guy in the first 10 minutes. The rest is denial, okay? That's what it is. People get divorced after 20 years of what they knew about the person in the first 20 minutes, all right? That's a fact. We just suffer from wishful thinking, okay? And don't flatter yourself. It's not, you love a toxic man, not because you're trying to change him. Here's why you love a toxic man. Because he brings out your toxins. Yeah, his manipulation brings out your manipulation. His narcissism brings out your narcissism. And let's be honest, those are wonderful demons to purge, right? And express like, fuck you, fuck me, you know? God, it's just not here's the good news.
So it looks like Bryan's working through some sexual fetishes out here on stage. He's like, I think he's talking a little bit about the joy of a good old American hate fuck. He continues here.
Oh, you know what happens when you mix your toxins with his toxins? You know what you get? A lot of cum. Yeah, I'm sorry, but it's an unholy sex. You ever been in a relationship where you're like, I can't sustain this shit. It's too much. You know who knows that? The dogs. You know that, like, you ever have sex where the animals in the house start to freak out? You know that's bad, right? You're going at it and the dog is howling and pissing in a circle. Like, he doesn't know what's going on. He's like, what the fuck is happening? You guys fighting? Ooh, ooh, ooh. Right? But the cat always knows. The cat is like, this is unnatural. I'll see you in 3 days.
Big applause. He became a dog and a cat in less than 10 seconds on that act out there. Crowd gives it up for another masterful performance. Bryan Callen becoming different things. Very funny.
Sorry about all the biblical undertones or overtones to my presentation. I've been reading a lot about religion. I'm done with philosophy. It just gets me in a circle. And I'm just fascinated with it.
So Bryan Callen, he reads a lot about philosophy. He reads a lot about religion. I mean, this is, again, I did describe comedians as people that watch Instagram reels and movies and TV shows and sports all day long. But they're like Socrates. They wander, they take long walks, and they think philosophically. They think about theology, and they present their new findings on the human condition at the Comedy Mothership.
The idea of a transcendent truth. And I haven't landed on where I'm very intrigued by Christianity. I hope Jesus is God. I do, because I think he grades on a curve, you know? I mean, he's very forgiving, you know? Like, I don't believe that you're going to hell. I think he'd be like, you'd be like, I didn't know because there's so many different. He'd be like, I know, come on, you know, right? It's a radical idea, Christianity. Loving your enemy is radical. To turn the other cheek like that, to get hit and offer the other cheek instead of rolling that shit and coming up and fucking over, you know?
More arms?
No, I can't, man. My default is murder. It is, man. When you know what I mean? When you talk about making the world a better place, that's code for some people need to die. It's so, man, just even walking in sandals with no arch support, like try that, right? Like, you know what I mean? Yeah, and I'm not gonna work with lepers. Ew. Right? Oh, I could never eat around them. Keep your spores away. And I'll tell you this, I'm not selling all my possessions and giving my money to the poor. I'm not doing that. I love the poor.
Okay, so leprosy is a disease that affects underdeveloped countries and also parts of the United States. And it involves sort of your body parts becoming disfigured. So quite grim.
Love them, but they're not good with money. I think I've been thinking about the Garden of Eden too, because I got children. When you have kids, that's like raising kids is keeping them away from all the apples, right? And it's like they're born in what they think is the garden.
Okay, so apples can mean, in Bryan's case, it means toxic women. I don't think I mean, maybe he's trying to keep his kids away from toxic women, but I don't know what the deal is.
Of Eden, and they slowly lose their innocence, and there's nothing you can do about it. They're going to eat all the apples too. They just do, and the apples come in different forms, like in a sharp edge.
Okay, so apples can be different things now in this case.
Or like an electric socket, or you know what I mean? Or a
those are
nervous
apples.
dog. You know, I don't know, a creepy uncle, divorce, whatever it is, but. And you got to just let them go, man. You got to let them go.
Like the old saying says, you know, when life gives you apples, make apple juice.
I'm watching I got a 16-year-old daughter, and I'm just watching her. She's going to leave the garden soon. And it's wild, man. It's just like, it was a 16-year-old daughter. That's such a bundle of positive energy. Yeah, anybody have a 16-year-old daughter? Oh, woohoo! Yeah, she loves me. Every time she sees me, she's like, Daddy, thank you for everything. Oh my God, for he's a jolly good fellow, for he's a jolly good fellow. Yeah, I've seen happier faces on coal miners, okay? Like, you have to roll your eyes that hard at me?
Okay, so that was sarcastic. So his 16-year-old daughter is not happy with Bryan. Here we go, guys.
Like, you know what I mean? It could be a little worse. I asked her the wrong question. It's like I threw ice water on her back, literally. The other day, I'm always walking on eggshells because she's a lawyer, you know, and I look at her, she comes in, and I go, how was school? She was like, oh my God. Ask a more general question, Dad. I don't know, how was school? Books, teachers. Okay. I'll go slam my dick in the door. See you when you're 30, bitch.
Woo!
She's like, girls are, by the way, I don't care what you say, boys are so much easier to raise than girls. So much easier, right? They're just, because boys are linear. They're linear, hungry, tired, horny, angry.
Okay, men are different than women. This is a very well-mined premise in comedy and stand-up comedy. If you could see the comedy mine of men are different than women, you can see it from outer space. There's huge trucks and excavators just digging out of that giant pit of men are different than women. So this is very exciting. Hopefully he has some rich ore here.
Got it, you know? And plus, you can threaten boys with violence. You don't want to do it? Would you rather die? I can't do that with my daughter. She figured that out 5 years old. She knew how the system works. I'd be like, you can stop that right now. She'd be like, no. My daughter's an intellectual, like for real. Like my daughter's been reading novels since she was 4 years old. 4 years old. She's watching Lord of the Rings at 11 years old. I go, that was a book. She goes, a book? That's 3 books. I was like, I know. She's like, you've read the trilogy? I was like, I have to.
He also, Bryan Callen, has very intelligent children reading advanced literature at 11 years old. Smart kids, parties hard, young hot wife. went through fucking lots of hot women, hangs out with billionaires. I fucking love this guy.
Take this fake phone call, you know? I can't. Listen, man, my daughter wants to be a scientist, okay, for real. She wants to be a molecular something, like, I don't know. I know, I stopped. It was too much. I was like, I can't, like a molecular biological engineer, something crazy. Anyway, something that's the schooling is gonna cut into my retirement, and that's what I thought. Listen, feminism is expensive. That's all I'm trying to say. God bless. God bless. I love that my daughter wants to be an independent scientist, but, you know, there's a part of me that's like, you have your mother's bone structure. Like, marry a multimillionaire, you know? Right? Go hang out in a bar in Dallas. Get a guy. Somebody I can play golf with, you know? But no, she wants to be a scientist. This is feminism. You guys won. God bless. You got a whole generation of women. I can be an astronaut too. I love it, but somebody's got to send you to astronaut school, okay? There are a lot of fathers out there who are on food stamps. Like, I don't eat well, but my daughter's on the fucking moon, so. Luckily,
Okay, so that joke there is about that it's expensive to send people to school, so women should. He's obviously being very funny and superfluous here, but he's saying, oh, women shouldn't want to go to school because it's very expensive. Big applause break from the crowd there, very funny.
Got a 13-year-old son, and school is not exactly his thing. That's right. That's right. My 13, I'm literally raising myself. He's a carbon copy. Carbon copy. Like, we are so alike. I'm so connected. It's unbelievable. That kid, like, he was put on the earth to punish me for my sins. Like, I'm raising me. It is that he moves the way I do. He's in his own world. He just moves around generally because he's thinking about something. So his body reacts. I was exactly the same way. Just generally climbing a rope in his head, playing a video game. Just, it's the kind of energy dogs bark at. Like, the dog is like, is he wounded? What the fuck is he doing? Like, this all you get.
Wow, so imagine the amount of act outs in that house. Imagine having two Bryan Callens just shucking and jiving around in the kitchen. What a barrel of laughs that must be.
I don't know about my son. You want to talk about marching to your own drum? He's got two options, comedy or crime. I'm telling you right now. Like, I know the type, right? And the kid, he comes down, 11 years old. He comes down, he's ready for school. He's wearing a fedora. Don't know where he got it. Fits perfect. A fedora, designer glasses, a summer scarf, and he's holding a briefcase. Nothing's in the briefcase, of course. Standing there with no irony. I'm looking at him, I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, I'm ready for school. I know, but what's going on? He's like, what? I'm like, come on. What's happening with all this? He's like, what's the problem? I'm like, well, the problem is I'm your father and I want to beat you up. And that's the problem. He just comes in the other day moving generally like he lost keys he doesn't own, you know, just kind of do. And I'm looking at him, I'm already like, come on, man, I was the same kid, so fucking, you know, fit in, you know, life's going to be tough. Anyway, he sees me and he just goes like this. He looks at me and he goes, I'm an atheist, by the way. So I'm like, you're an atheist? That's what you're going to say to me at your age? You're an atheist? He goes, yes, but I'm not taking questions at this time.
Big applause break. Bryan Callen just describing his children. And people who have kids will often applaud when other people talk about kids because they remember that they have kids, and everybody smiles and claps because when you have kids and you hear someone else has kids, you have to applaud because you all have kids. So that's kind of the joke there.
Yeah, got talked into sending him to private school, by the way. Private school because he inherited my ADHD. Right?
Kids are in private school.
In California and Santa Monica, that's what you do. You send them to just small classes, just sign the dotted lines. You know, it's so expensive. It's so, you know what I had to do for my ADHD? Stand up in class. That was my medication. Yeah, just stand there, fucking fidgeting around. Oh, thanks for the help. Yeah, that was me. Anyway, I pick him up from school the other day, this high-priced school, wearing a uniform. I go, how was school? He goes, whatever. I'm like, whatever? What do you mean, whatever? He goes, yes, whatever. Nothing I'm learning in that school bears any relevance to what I want to do in the real world, so whatever. I'm like, what do you want to do in the real world that you can't learn in that very expensive school without missing a beat? He goes, I want to roll cigars. It's an interest of mine.
God, his son sounds like such a fun, random, kooky guy, very similar to Bryan Callen. This kid's gonna be all right. Again, the jokes, it's hard for me to describe the. Bryan is not a traditional joke-based stand-up. He sort of says, he sets up body movements and he makes statements. And sometimes they call back to previous things he said or moved around to describe. So you just have to bear with them. You just have to be on board for seeing a guy's arms move in a very sudden way.
You want to roll cigars? That's a real answer. You want to roll cigars? So they send you to Cuba so you can roll fucking cigars? And he's like, oh, I can't have dreams? You're the only one who can have dreams? I can't have dreams? Have a great day, Dad, because I know I won't. And he starts walking away from me on the street. I got in trouble because I was like, I'll run you over with my fucking car. I go quick. He literally, he turns 13, his 13th birthday. I innocently go, what do you want for your birthday? He goes, bongos. And I'm like, okay, first of all, don't do that face after you say bongos. Don't go with it. That's a duh face. Don't go, duh. Don't do that with your face. It's disrespectful, so don't say that. How would I know you want bongos? He goes, well, I want bongos. Like, since when do you want bongos? He goes, since I got a calling for them. Do you have a calling for the bongos? And if I buy you bongos, you're going to play the bongos? He goes, every chance I get, constantly. He goes, but I want good bongos. I want real bongos. I don't want fake bongos. I want good quality bongos. Okay, guess I'll go to bongos.com and get you bongos. And then he can't let that go. He looks at me and he goes, but I want the kind of bongos that can also attach to your waist. And I said, come here. You need to come here. I want you to look in my eyes. This is important. Look into my eyes, okay? Fucking never, all right? And he was like, why? I go, why? Because I don't want a 13-year-old son walking around fucking, I don't want that.
Oh, the bongo act out. Great punchline to this very long story. But the bongos, well, that was I was thinking we were heading there and really hoping we'd get to see him do the air bongos, and we did. Crowd loves it.
My friends will know I failed as a father, so no bongos for you. It's unbelievable. The only kid that doesn't give me ulcers is my soon-to-be 3-year-old, my little Cody. So cute, I know. I can't take it. He's just like, I can't remember. I love my kids so much, all of them. But this one, I want to bite him with my back teeth. You know that? I can't believe more parents don't accidentally eat their children, for real. He's so cute, and he's a little ginger. I know. It's weird to be a white guy. I have to raise a minority in my own home, right? That's what's crazy. Gingers, if you're a...
That's a joke about minorities, referring to the red hair. And normally in America, a minority refers to people who are not white. So that's the joke there. Crowd gets it, laughs big time.
Guy, good luck getting laid, right? It's gonna be a hard life. Women, if you're a ginger, that's hot, but I don't think ginger dudes get laid in Scotland. And that's where they're from. You ever heard a Scottish woman say, I want a man who's tall, pale, and orange? When I saw you coming over that hill, Angus, for the first time, I thought you were a torch.
The accent, the perfect Scotland accent from Bryan Callen there. Wow, bringing it home. And of course the joke is that not even Scottish women want to have sex with a ginger guy, which is very funny because so true.
I thought the sun was rising early. You burn my bush. So dumb. Said no Scottish woman ever. All of you, every one of you are prejudiced against gingers. Every one of you. You don't even know it. If you walked into an orphanage and the first baby they held up was a ginger, every single one of you would be like, okay. No, he's great, but can we look around? Or no, because we live in Austin in the sun, you know. Plus we have eagles, and so scumbags. Yeah, but it's scary having children too, you know, because my kids are caught up in that social media shit. My two oldest kids, I bought them that iPhone. Ain't seen them since. Right? And let me tell you the other problem with social media, man. It'll help you purify your echo chamber. Your algorithm will lie to you. Your algorithm will just keep giving you things that you already agree with. So you'll go from thinking you have all the answers to knowing you have all the answers. Yeah, that's good for society, huh? Just silo off and just surround yourself with only people that agree with you. Okay. You know, I see it in my own house. My daughter got caught in an algorithm. Thanks, TikTok. You worry about school? Compete with TikTok and Reels and all that. She got caught in one algorithm, and she's basically a communist. And my son got caught in another algorithm, and he's just a little to the right of Genghis Khan. Okay, so, yeah, you know, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable, man. And it's funny how the world changes, and you're the last to know about it. That's the other thing about being older, man. Is like you realize you're a little calcified, not just physically, but also culturally. Like I walked into a coffee shop right here in Austin, right here, and behind.
Don't want to go to a coffee shop in Austin.
The counter was a young person making espressos, and it looked like it was a man. I mean, I don't know how he identifies. I don't want to, but he had a beard. He had a beard, a pronounced beard, and he was also wearing a lovely summer dress. Lovely. But it had straps, a floral pattern. It stopped above the knee, and he was wearing cork wedges. He was standing on 5 inches of cork, which is to me, to have no traction under your feet is irresponsible. Like you know what I mean? Like what if I come at you? What the fuck? You know? Anyway. But I'm not here to make fun of anybody for wearing a dress and a beard. I don't like that. I'm not that kind of comic. I don't make fun of people. I never made fun of gay people, even in the 90s when it was fashionable. So I'm not here to do that. But I will say that just aesthetically, like a summer dress, to go from that to a beard. So there's probably a reason that look hasn't caught on historically. Right? Because it's just so abrupt on the eye. For me, just to go from a dress, it's like going from a sensual massage to a flying headlock, you know? Visually. And so I thought that I had all these thoughts. And then I had my old guy thoughts. I couldn't believe it. It looked like chaos to me. It looked scary. It triggered me. It did. I was like, this is cats and dogs living together. You can't just decide you're going to wear a dress. What the fuck, you know? It's like, how are we going to compete with China, you know? Like, I went through these stupid thoughts. I was like, we got to bring back the draft maybe now, you know? And that was all fear, and I just couldn't get it. And it's like, it's the new hippie, the new punk rock. Maybe also just being older and seeing all these young kids who probably majored in equality, and you know, and it's not my generation, and he's wearing a dress and a beard, and it just looked like a revolution. It looked like change that I wasn't included in. That's what happens when I see young people ambitious. Let's change the world, you know? When I hear young people say that, like you hear let's change the world, I hear let's kill everybody over 50, you know? Right? Maybe it makes some sense. I kept thinking about that. I was like, the whole transgender movement, that happened in this zeitgeist.
Finally, we had to get there. There's no comedy special unless we start addressing trans people. It looks like he might be closing on this one, so hopefully it's very funny.
Not mine.
It will be.
I always think about why. It's very interesting, you know? And I just think about, because when I was growing up, there was one transgender person, and they did a 60-minute special about them. And I know. And now, like, 30% of you are trans. I don't know. But, like, well, I don't know what it's very interesting to me, because it kind of happened. Well, it happened 2015 when Bruce Jenner had an 8-hour operation and he woke up Caitlyn Jenner. And then a minute later, he won Woman of the Year. And that...
Here we go. Okay, good. Finally, someone's talking about Caitlyn Jenner. Thank you, Bryan. Oh, this is going to be so good.
I remember that. That was crazy. And I remember I'm just a bunch of like conservatives and traditional Americans. I was like, I have some questions, you know? And we quickly found out the time for questions was over, bigot. This has all been settled science. We don't need your voice. We saw what you did to the other minorities, Whitey, you know? And I was like, what? And, you know, because her support system was very, very strong. I mean, and vast. I mean, I'm talking about, well, I don't know, let's see. All of the fashion industry, all of Hollywood, all of corporate America, all of legacy media, all of big tech. And that's a formidable group of people. They can make or break you. You know, and then Caitlyn Jenner came out as a Republican. They were like, fuck that guy.
Great observation. Very funny observation there from Bryan Callen. Kind of a humorous observation, I'll say. I don't know if there was he just sort of described what happened, and not really didn't really joke about it, but the observation is funny.
Yeah, but something else interesting was going on because she was a bad poster girl for the movement anyway, because who can afford all that surgery? And being trans was not about surgery. It was about an inner narrative. It was about an inner feeling. It was about something that you cannot describe. It's something that's so sacred and deep. And we were told that this was the most vulnerable minority, and they are statistically. They're the ones most likely to cause self-harm and worse. And so suddenly it was like the feelings became sacrosanct, new for my generation. If you were talking about feelings in my generation, you better be, if you were talking about how something felt, you better be talking about shoes, bitch. But this was different. This was new. And by the way, this wasn't just about protecting feelings. This was about saving lives. So that's why, if you had any naysayers, they had to be de-amplified, de-emphasized, de-platformed, defunded, destroyed. So you better be careful. So be on the right side of history. Yeah. But I was looking at this kid with the dress and the beard, and I thought, I'm probably looking at a white minority, which is wild. You can be white and you can be a minority now. And that's wild. And it's very unique because, you know, for black people.
Or if you're a ginger. That's just a little Bryan Callen joke.
And brown people and indigenous people, for them to become minorities, they had to go through hundreds of years of brutal colonization and slavery. But now you can have blonde hair and blue eyes, be white as the driven snow, and you can be a minority on the same level because you feel like one. That's hacking the system, baby. Yeah. Leave it up to white people, man. They're great. White people are like, I'm not saying there aren't real trans people. That's not what I'm saying here, because there are. I'm just saying there are grifters in every community. Yeah, man. It's wild. I mean, now you...
Thank you. Somebody said it. Thank you, Bryan. There are grifters in every community except the comedy community. Comedians are truthful, philosophical teachers, educators, writers, poets. Comedians are a very good self-regulating body. There are no grifters in the comedy community.
You can be white and you can be a bigger minority than a black man. Just ask Dave Chappelle. Hey, listen, I know that's a tough section of my presentation, and, you know, some people find that offensive, and I honor your feelings. I really do. But at least honor the fact that that's the way I feel about it.
Nice.
I can't leave you like that, though.
Good closer there. Sort of. See, now I have no criticism for this outstanding comedy special. But he did. Did you notice how he didn't do his movements for that whole bit? He could have very easily. I mean, Caitlyn Jenner was an Olympian. That's a lot of moving. That's a lot of good movements. That's primed for Bryan Callen's excellent movement comedy. But he didn't do that. And the crowd is kind of at a loss there because he mostly talked, which isn't a good idea when you're Bryan.
I don't want to be the old guy making fun of a kid in a dress and a beard. And I don't think I was, but it might sound that way. Because I got to go deeper. And I thought to myself, what is it about this zeitgeist? Why did that trans movement take place in this zeitgeist? Why not mine? I would have loved to have worn a dress and a beard. Seriously, just to mess with my dad. And my dad was a Marine. To walk up to my dad in a dress and a beard just to watch his head explode, just to be like, Dad, guess what? I'm not your son. I'm not your daughter. I'm neither or both. He'd lose his mind, but that wasn't even available. So what about this? What is it about this zeitgeist? Why does that make some sense? And I thought to myself, maybe wearing a dress and a beard is the only thing left for young people to do when they want to feel like some kind of a mystery, some kind of a unique individual. Maybe it's very natural for a young person to want to be unboxable, unknowable, undefinable. And that's the only silent howl that kid can manage, because we live in a world where they know everything about you. That kid's never not been on camera. Ever. I remember privacy. I remember it very well, but those planes hit those buildings and we were so afraid. We looked at the government and we said, we'll give you our privacy if you give us our safety. And they were like, how about we do you one better than that? How about a camera and a mic in everybody's hand? And now you're always on camera, my brothers and sisters. You get away with nothing. They do know everything about you. You're an algorithm, a pile of data, and it's all up there. You think you can hide with a hood and a mask? That kid should have talked to me before he carried out that terrible assassination, that dum-dum. They got cameras. They got cameras that can recognize your gait. Your particular walk is up in the cloud. They can shoot a laser into your heart and pick up your heart signature. How about this? They know a woman is pregnant before she does based on her migratory shopping patterns, motherfuckers. Huh? Yeah, that's right. They know everything about you. You ain't a mystery. You're just a number. They know what you like and what you don't like. They know what stops your thumb. They know what dilates your eyeball. They know what glazes it over. They can program you to hate what they hate, and they can definitely program you to love what they already have for sale. And when I say they, does anybody know who the hell I'm talking about? Because I don't. I know there are a lot of theories. I don't even think it's people anymore. I think it's the machines, man. I really do. I think it's the machines. And you know, I was thinking about that too, as I looked at that kid's shoes. And I thought to myself, damn, I think I've been getting ready for the wrong enemy. Because I've been waiting for the grid to break down. That's why I practice jujitsu. That's why I have guns. That's why we live in Texas, right, guys? That's why, right? Yeah, you got access to a well. You got access to a well. Your garage is a CrossFit gym in case you got to climb a rope, you know, and the stairs break down in the apocalypse. I don't know what you're looking for, but either way, you got a freezer full of game meat. Yeah, good luck. Good luck arm barring AI gone bad, huh? What's the point of learning anything when AI can do it better tomorrow? That's the other thing that kid is facing. Thought to myself, the future for me, bright, something I could predict. For that kid, it feels like an impending tsunami. It doesn't feel cozy. Blockchain. Autonomous robots. I can't wait, you know? And I thought about that too. The grid's not going to break down, but the machines aren't going to kill us. They don't have to. Why would you kill your own slaves? Yeah, man. You
Profound.
think the iPhone 16 is addictive? Wait till AI 1000 gets here. Ooh. Damn. And I thought about that too as I looked around that coffee shop and I saw everybody bent over their phones like broken monks in this unholy communion. Just
like broken monks in this unholy communion. God damn. You guys, I hope you're writing this down, because this is fucking amazing shit.
Having thoughts, thinking they wanted to be somebody else, wanted to be somewhere else, just dragging their thumbs, just a nation of drug addicts. Dopamine, cortisol, adrenaline, dopamine, cortisol, adrenaline. And I thought to myself, damn, maybe it's not a coincidence that this machine I can't turn myself away from. Maybe it's not a coincidence that this machine is also called the Apple. Thank you very much.
Oh, shit. What an outstanding genius.
Austin, you make me feel very lucky. God bless. Thank you so much.
An outstanding genius. Ties in the social media movements from the beginning with the social media movements at the very end. Talked about the apple a whole bunch in regards to the Garden of Eden and the apple. And then says, and the machine you got in your pocket, is an Apple or an Android, but probably I mean, just what a masterclass in stand-up comedy. And stand-up means mostly, you know, sort of dancing around, moving your arms, moving your legs. Bryan Callen, what an unbelievable performance, guys. If you've made it this far, I applaud you. If you simply skipped to the end of the video, thanks so much for doing that as well. We'll be back again. Honestly, it's gonna take me a long time to process what I've just seen. So I might not see you for years, but I'm gonna go to a coffee shop and stare at a man in a dress and read Seneca, just like Bryan Callen. See you in the next one, guys.